Marcelo falou, que se procurasse uma Amazon tinha.
Alguns, né?
Ask, can you hear me now? Yeah, let me know. So as I was saying, it's always good to read, but when you read good stuff, it's even better. Because the thing is, good, excellent, thank you. So research show that it helps a lot with. Well, it's like building a muscle, right? For us to be healthy, body-wise, we have to keep moving. It doesn't matter if it's in a gym or if it's walking. It doesn't really matter. What matters is if we move. And the brain is the same thing. I mean, if we don't move the brain, it will get stuck. And so reading is very, very important. And different types of reading too. Let me make this before starting. When you are reading, and it's one of my passions, but when you're reading comic books, it has a different type of reading, and it exercises a different type of muscle in the brain. Because you have to read not only the letters, not only the words, not only the sentences, but you have to see what the action is. And whatever action it is, it doesn't need to be a superhero action. It can be a day-to-day life. And the movement, you can almost see the movement. You can feel the wind. You can, and it's a different type of reading. It exercises a different type of part, a different part of your brain. So reading is it's one of the best exercises for the brain. Like many others, like for example, doing Sudoku or doing crossword puzzles, it exercises the brain in different ways. So that's why it's always important for us to do that. And that's one of the great things about Spiritism, in my point of view, is that it tries to at least stimulate us to go after more knowledge, or to know a little bit more. And stimulates not only our curiosity, but it stimulates knowledge. And beyond that, stimulate self-knowledge, which is very, very important. So with all that introduction, we are back once again on our second Monday of each month when we have our meetings in English. And tonight we're going to have the continuation of studying the Gospel according to Spiritism. We're going to talk about chapter 9, item number 7, which is entitled Patience. And you're going to have a lot of that because I'm going to be here almost the whole night talking. But also we have, we have an inauguration. See, it's an inauguration. The first time we're going to have our dear friend Mariana here. She's going to read a message for us from the book Our Daily Bread, message number 128. She already did one, but was in Portuguese, so tonight is her debut, okay? For reading and making a comment on a message from Our Daily Bread. And right after she comes, I'll come back with the message from the Gospel according to Spiritism. So before we start, let's just keep up our elevated thoughts, or our thoughts elevated, and to thank God, thank the good spirits, thank our dear Master Jesus for helping us, for staying always with us, no matter what, helping us look at the world and understand the world, see the world under a different light, under the light of love, of compassion, and making us feel it so that we can also give to the world a little bit more of that love that we feel from them. So God, may your blessings, may your love, may your peace fall upon us. And may us tonight be able to understand and to feel your love in this meeting. Bless us, and so be it. So let's invite our dear friend Mariana, and she will take up stage.
You threw me under the bus, so. Good evening, everyone. Like Mackenzie said, this is my second time doing this, my first time in English. So I'm a lot nervous. In case I faint, please don't call 911. It's just because I'm extremely nervous. But let's do this. Thank you. So our lesson today is from Our Daily Bread, written by Chico Xavier, from the Spirit Emmanuel. It's chapter 128, Because of Ignorance. They would do such things because they have not known the Father or me. This was said by Jesus, and it's on John 16:3. Quite often, painful perspectives faces the disciples, inspiring them to question, why is there disharmony with regards to fraternal efforts? The journey towards righteousness encounters sober barriers. The establishment of the light is projected, but the darkness penetrates the path. Simple projects are formulated for clarity, which ill intentions attempt to interrupt the first moment of its realization. As a rule, the destructive demonstration originate from disguised individuals who, due to circumstances, act as guide of general thoughts. They, in majority of the occasions, are the ones who instigate through their discourses, impositions, and improper demands. However, the sincere student of Jesus should not waste time with questions and anxieties that are not justified. The divine teacher clarified this great problem in advance. Ignorance is the common source of unbalance. If this or that group of individuals tries to impede the manifestation of goodness, it is due to the lack of knowledge at this time of the blessings from heaven. It is no more than this. It is essential, therefore, to disregard the darkness that still dominates the greater part of earth, allowing each student to live in the light that palpitates in the service to the Father. So, just the title itself just tells us a lot. Because of ignorance, or because of the lack of knowing, or the lack of knowledge, we just have so many acts as human beings because there's no knowledge or because of ignorance that is just beyond explanation. Wars starts because of ignorance. People kill each other because of ignorance. And it's so much easier to go to the wrong path than it is to go to the right path. We are always questioning the right path, but we never question the wrong path. We are always questioning, why should I do this when it's for the right path? But when it's for the wrong path, we don't question once. We go on Facebook, on Instagram every single day, and we see people posting something there. And sometimes I'm not talking about anyone, I'm talking about myself. I do this too. I see someone acting on my eyes ridiculously. So what do? I take a screenshot, I do something like that, and I send to a friend and I say, hey, look at this person. Look how ridiculous this person is. Look what she's doing. Look what. But if that same person posts something that she is doing a GoFundMe or she's doing something to help someone else, my first thought is, okay, I'll judge. My first thought when I'm judging that person, actually, I don't have a first thought. All I do is I grab that information and I pass it through when it's bad. When it's good, you always think 100 times, should I help? Can I help?
The money going to the right place.
Yeah,
They're not going to steal the money.
exactly. So we always questioning the good path. Why are we always questioning this? And this is exactly what it tells us here. Do not question. Do not question the good. Why do you have 100 reasons not to do the good? All you need is one reason to do it. We have 100 reasons not to do the bad. But we take that one reason to do the bad and we do it. Why can't we do the other way around? Why is it so much easier? And it tells us that the divine teacher clarified this great problem in advance. So Jesus has been warning us. This is going to happen ever since he came. He was the first one who told us this is going to happen. The disciples, they question, why is there disharmony regards to fraternal effort? Why? If it's so easy to do the right thing, why is there an unbalance when it comes to do it the right thing? There shouldn't be. It is essential, therefore, to disregard the darkness that still dominates the greater part of earth. It's essential to us. We need to let go of the darkness. We need to stop seeing the bad things and start seeing the good things. There's so many good things in people. There's so many good things on earth. There's so many good we could be doing. Why do we keep looking for the darkness? Why do we keep searching for the reasons to do the wrong? If we have one reason to do the right, that's the right way to do it. That's what we should be doing, not the wrong. I think that's enough. Thank you, everyone. And I hope I could tell you a little bit of what I understood from this. And again, I'm sorry for being so nervous.
Thank you very much to share with us. Até fala inglês hoje? Olha! Esse inglês que eu aprendi na Harvard, eu estava fazendo faculdade de nosso inglês.
Thank you, Mariana. Shed some light on our ignorance. It's always good, and it takes a lot of heart, a lot of courage to be up front here. So I appreciate it. It's not easy. It's not easy. I remember the very first time I did it was in Portuguese. It was scary. Yeah, it was scary. But here I am, I don't know, some 30 years later or so. And today it's a little easier. Not that's 100%. Every time I come here, you feel something. It doesn't matter. And there are lots of studies about it. And because this is such a powerful fear that they say that it's either the first or the second most feared thing in the human race. And they have anthropological explanations for it. It's not that we were monkeys one day. It's not that. But we share lots of instinct from our tens of thousands of generations of animals. And the fact that we are being watched, when we think about living, let's just do a quick exercise. Think about 10,000 years ago, but we don't need to go that far. Think about 100 years ago, or think about yesterday. If in your neighborhood, for whatever reason, you had no power, zero power, and you go outside and it's not a full moon night, you will see, depending where you live, almost nothing outside. So imagine that you need to live in that situation every night of your lives, and you have to go out for whatever reason. Who is watching you? What kind of animal is watching you from the tree that you cannot see, that you cannot hear? So every time there's something that you can see that's looking at you, it's a danger. That's why we're so afraid of being exposed. And some of us are braver, which, of course, like some animals or some animals inside that herd, they are a little more courageous or brave than the others. But depending on what it is, being brave at the wrong time, it means almost certain that you're going to be killed first. So fear is there nonetheless. So being up front here, and it's always a fight. If you fought a million times, it will be a little easier, but it's always a fight. And if you're in a weird territory. Imagine that you lived your whole life in the same town. So you already know where that tree is. You already know where that river is. You already know. Now you move from that place to another for whatever reason. The area that you live is flooded. Then you have to move to a different place. Now, where's the tree? Where's the security of all those elements that you knew before? What's that in common with what we're living right now is, what is the word for professor? Yeah. But you have to think about it, right? Teacher is an easy word. But what is the word? Yeah. But what is the word for perispírito?
Wow.
You see what I mean? It's a completely different terrain that we're stepping on. So it's even you're more frightened, right? So it's we just need to relax. It's just relax and let it go. Like call Frozen, right? Let it go. Let it go. So just rewind. Let's start. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming and for joining us. So tonight we're talking about, we're going to talk a little bit about this message from the Gospel according to Spiritism, which is entitled Patience. And like I said in the beginning, hopefully you'll have enough of it to hear me, to stay with me tonight. This is one of the translations on the screen, and I have to thank everyone. I don't know who is watching. If there's any, well, there's at least one person watching, I know, online. So there's the cover of the book is right here by my side. I cannot see it, but I know it's there because I put it on the computer. This is one of the covers, and there are many different translations, or a few different translations, to English and to Portuguese and to different languages. I was just on this website, which I have it here open as well. It's called Kardecpedia, Kardecpedia.com. They have all the works by Allan Kardec and Spiritism from the beginning of Spiritism in 8 different languages. So you can read and research and compare translations. Sometimes it's interesting to see how other languages deal with the same. So you might have some insight. So they have it in French, which is the original language, and then Portuguese, English, Spanish, German, Italian, Korean, and Japanese, apparently. So they have it in 8 languages on their website. So if you have a friend that you want to share some pages or a message or something, and they speak one of these languages, it's right there, Kardecpedia.com. It's very easy, and the whole books are there, and not only the books, there are the magazines and so on. So there's a lot of things there. But tonight we're talking about chapter number 9, which is, we're still studying it. It's called "Blessed are the Meek and the Peacemakers." That's the title of the chapter, and the item is item number 7, which is patience, like I said. And this message is very interesting. Every time I think about the Gospel according to Spiritism, or not every time, but most of the times, when I'm thinking about a specific message from the Gospel of according to Spiritism, I think about this very specific message. Because when I was very young, I guess, that's when it happened. I can't remember age or anything. But there's a part in this message that like created an image in my mind. And because of that image, which we were talking a little bit here about the reading before, this comes to my mind very frequently. I'm going to get to it in a few, because he uses a specific metaphor or analogy to show something that he wants to talk about. But he starts this message as a friendly spirit. There's no name. The spirit has no name. It's just a friendly spirit. And it's a very, very interesting message. And I'm not, as usual, I'm not going to read the whole message. I'm just going to skim through it and pick some points that I like to talk about. And I invite everyone, as we're talking about reading, to read the message later on in any language. It doesn't matter. just don't read in a language that you don't understand. Please don't go open the Korean message, because you're not, unless you know Korean. But it starts this message in a way that I find it to be so, to some people is disturbing. It gives like the goosebumps in some people, because it says like this, and I'm going to read this sentence. Pain is a blessing. I know it is hard. It is hard. Pain is a blessing sent by God. So it goes even worse in a certain degree. To all his elected. Pain is a blessing sent by God to all his elected. Now, I'm not going to make any comments. I'm just going to give the names of some people, right? That some consider them to be, say, elected by God to some degree, right? When we think about Jesus in Spiritism, we don't tend to think about Jesus in a cross. But what is the image of Christ that's more common? It's of Christ suffering, right? Can we say that Christ is an elected by God? I mean, if there's anyone that was elected by God, it would be Jesus, right? Chosen by God. And how did Gandhi die? And we can talk about other people, either from Christianity or not, but Buddha, for example, the Buddha, right? Siddhartha Gautama. He is said to have gone to be he was very wealthy, was a prince, and then he left everything to go to the other end, and he almost starved himself to death. What is that if not pain? What is that if not? And yet, he is recognized as one of the greatest men that ever lived because of all he left for us to study, to know, to think about. Pain is a blessing sent by God to all his elected. What does that mean, though? Does that mean that I should look for pain? Because there is a big, big difference in pain coming to me, and I myself decide to go looking for pain. These are two completely different things. To live is almost synonym of to be in pain. Almost synonym. Because it's people that don't feel the pain, they are more prone to have more diseases, to put themselves into situations where they don't know how to get out of. Can you imagine what it is? Not today. I mean, these days we are living in an era that we are. Sometimes there are these questions. Oh, if you could live in a past, what year, what age would you like to live? And said, oh, I'm glad that I already lived there because I don't want to go back. No, can you imagine that one simple thing? I had a problem in one of my teeth, one of my tooth, right? So I went to the doctor, and they found out the problem, fixed it, and so on. I asked the question while I was waiting. I asked the question to the girl that was taking care, not the dentist himself or herself, but the I don't know if they have a specific name, but the person that helps the dentist, assistant, or yeah. So she was there, and I asked her, "Are you studying to be a dentist?" She said, "Yeah, I'm taking some classes and so on." So, what? And then I asked her, "What do they say about how it was when you didn't have anesthetics?" And she said, "Oh, they don't say anything." So imagine, even inside where you're learning about anesthetics, they don't even mention what it is not to have anesthetics, because it's something that you cannot even imagine not having in the past. Nonetheless, if you lived, I don't know, 150 years ago, maybe even less in some places, what would you do? You would be in pain for a long time. But let's go to a simpler thing. Not the pain. So let's imagine that there's a person that doesn't feel the pain. And it has an infection. But at the same time, because of the time that you live, you don't brush your teeth. Right? And probably that's why you have more infection in your mouth and you have a terrible smell in your mouth, right? But you also don't smell that well because there's no good showers if you take showers. So you're smelling all the time. So if you were clean, a person would come to you and say, "Hey, you have a problem in your tooth that you need to take care of. But I don't feel pain. Why should I care? Why should I care if I don't feel the pain?" Then, all of a sudden, because a tooth is aching or not aching, but it's infected, then you get an infection in your bones. Then, all of a sudden, you die of a heart attack. Because it is well known these days that some infections in your tooth can cause heart problems. Then, you die young just because you didn't feel pain. Do we still want to feel pain? No, I don't want to feel pain. But pain is a message. It's just a message. And in his words, is a blessing. People say that some stuff that happened to us are blessings in disguise, right? There's this saying in English, more common than in Portuguese. So this is a blessing in disguise, as if you put a disguise so you don't know what it is, and then it's an ugly thing. I'm not wearing a disguise. I'm ugly just like it is. Right? So it's is it a blessing or not? Then we have to decide what we're going to make of it. So what he is starting to say is it is necessary in our level, the way we are, the way we were built. There's no way that we can live without that. Therefore, because it is something that we cannot completely avoid, we have to learn how to deal with it. That's why there are some people that say that how can I say that? Pain is necessary. Suffering is optional. And in between, there needs to be something for me to get from pain and learn that I know I don't need to suffer. It might not be obvious and it might not be instantaneous, but I have to get out of one place to get to the other, and there needs to be some kind of waiting game in between one and the other. And that waiting game is patience. I have to learn to breathe in and breathe out. Because it will hurt. Because it does hurt. And maybe it will hurt for a very long time. Is it worth it, though? That's the big question. And what am I doing while I'm in pain? Do I want to inflict more pain in me? Do I want to, because I'm feeling pain, do I want to inflict pain on the others as well? And I guess that because we are more of a visual kind, I mean, not everybody, of course, but, or more of, I'd say, more of a materialistic type, because we live in matter, and we I guess, understand more when we touch things or when we talk about physical stuff. There's this image that I like a lot, which is, there was this son was very, very angry, and he was a kid, and he said that came to the house and he was very angry, and his father was there, and what's going on? And he said, oh, I this thing happened to me, and this person did this to me, and I started yelling and screaming and saying that he was this, that he was that, and he was like very, very angry and like saying all this stuff. And his father looked at him and said, oh, and that how does this feel? And he said, oh, I don't know, I feel better. I mean, he deserves it. He needs to get it from someone. And his father looks at him and said, oh, yeah, okay, go take a shower. Let's calm down and let's eat and so on. So his father didn't say anything. He just waited for the right moment, I guess, to do something. So after they are there, and he completely forgot about it, and he said, oh, let's go outside. I have a game that I set up outside so that we can play together. You're gonna do it first so that we can see how it is. And he says, oh, nice. He said, and his father says, oh, get the best shirt that you have. I mean, the shirt that you love, the one that you really like the most, because it. And said, oh yeah. He went there and got a shirt that he loves and so on. It's like a light blue shirt with some superhero, whatever it was. And then he goes outside and there said, what's the game? And then he said, oh, then he put a white linen from the bed sheet hanging outside. It's a white, very clean, and he had this big pile of coal, right? The one that we put to make barbecue, and it's black stuff that you get and all dirty. So it's, let's see how much time you need to make that white sheet completely black, or the dirtiest that you can. So he said, that's gonna be fun. So he gets all the coal and starts like crazy throwing those coals into that white stuff. And so like 5 minutes doing that, and he's all like sweaty and all like throwing, and the thing is starting to look terrible. And he looks at his father and says, "Oh, so that's nice. What are you gonna do?" It's, "No, I'm not doing it right now. Before, I want you to take a look at something that I prepared." So he gets the linen out of the wire that's hanging there, and behind there's a mirror that he put there. Then when he takes it out and the boy looks at himself in the mirror, He's all completely black. As black or even more black, more dirty, or dirtier than the sheet that he was throwing the rocks on. He said, "Whoa, look how I am so dirty." But you are trying, he looks at, his father looks at him, but you are trying to make the thing dirty, right? Yeah, so you're throwing rocks and coal at that thing to make it dirty. And you were able to make it dirty, right? Yeah. But who got dirty too? Me, yeah. So, what do you think about the words that you were throwing at the other boy in school? How dirty are you? And the boy looks at himself, and what can he say? We don't, when we are in pain, there are many ways for us to deal with it. Many ways. One of them, when we are in that type of situation, is what this boy just did. Is to, I want to get it out of my system. And we usually do it throwing rocks, coal at others. For whatever reason. Usually the ones that are closest to us. Be it our brother, our father, our mother. And we're making the other one dirty. But what does it tell about myself? About the way that I deal with my own pain. I'm not solving my problem, and I'm probably adding more problems to my own list. When he says that we have to learn, he continues, and I'm going to read the next sentence. So, when you suffer, when you're in pain, do not allow yourself to become afflicted by it. So, in other words, is that sentence that I said. If you're in pain, do not suffer. Try to think about, why is that happening to me? Why do I have a pain in my tooth? Why do I have pain when someone yells at me? Why do I hurt? And I love this other image that also is stuck in my mind every time I talk about, or I think about pain and suffering, is, and especially these days with all this hand sanitizer around, in every place you go, you have hand sanitizer. So everybody knows that's alcohol. So you just rub the alcohol in your hands. And everybody knows how it feels when you put alcohol in your hands. But what happens when you don't know that you have a paper cut? So, is it the alcohol? It's me. The alcohol is only showing me that there's something wrong where? In me. It's showing me that there's something that needs to heal, that there's something that needs to be fixed. So if I'm impatient, what does that tell about myself? Not about the situation, but about myself. And I'm not saying that we're going to go out of here after we talked for, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever, about patience, that when we get outside here, then we're going to go outside the parking lot, and then there's a person there that's stuck, and I can't get out, that I'm going to be happy and singing. And I'm not going to say that. because it doesn't work like that. We all know, but we have to try to make workarounds in our minds, in our hearts, to learn, why am I being so stressed out because of these things, be it small or large, be it, something very tiny. I remember listening once a while ago to this talk about, or actually I was reading a small, probably a short story, a spiritist short story, about this talker, this speaker that was like just like me, talking about patience, and he was talking about patience, and there was this mosquito, this fly around his head, and there was a moment in his talk, they're talking about patience, that he totally lost it. Because there was a mosquito like going crazy, making him go crazy. Like you all, I guess you all have probably heard like the mosquito at night trying. It drives you nuts. How not to lose patience, right? When you have that kind of stuff. So it is not just about these small things. It's not just, it is about these things too, because we can train with those things. We can imagine that we can solve that problem because there is a problem. So it needs to be solved. Either I get rid of the mosquito, or I calm myself, or I find a way to put a barrier between me and the mosquito. One of the most famous stories, at least to me, about being patient, and that shows me another aspect of being patient, is Thomas Edison, right? When he created what we don't even have here anymore, which is the incandescent light. We basically don't have incandescent lights anymore. Well, you can still buy them, but you would be crazy to replace like 10 lamps, 10 lights for one that spends the same amount of energy that 10 others that light 10 times less. So it would be crazy. But most everybody knows the story, that he couldn't find whatever the material to create that filament, that small wire inside the light, because every time he would turn it on, it would burn. Every time it would light a little. He tried, they say more than 7 he tried, and he in his assistants, more than, I don't know, 700, 800 times, 800 different materials to do that. And one of them, probably a lot of the assistants say, hey, is this guy never going to give up? And he was patient. But be patient on a situation is not to sit down and wait for the situation to end. It's to act upon it and to use whatever we learned from the previous experience to improve to the next one. So he said, oh, we already know 700 ways of not doing it. So we're closer because we have 700 less. It doesn't matter if it's 10,000, but it's 10,000 minus 700. It doesn't matter. One day we will get to the one that we need. But he was not just sitting down. He was trying the next. Let's do the next one. Let's try the next one. So despite the pain, there's a song in Portuguese of a friend of ours. Not very, very close. I mean, I talked to him on the internet sometimes, and he came here to Cantinho, I think once or twice. Dennis, he sings, and it's Despite the Pain. That's the title, a literal translation. Apesar da dor. It's the title of the song, Despite the Pain. And there's a sentence in that song that I find it to be so pretty, and terrible memory, but I'm going to try to remember it. It says more or less like this: life is like a ladder. Our lives are like ladders, and pain is one of the steps that we need to go through, to climb. It's part of life. It's part of life. There's no birth without pain. Nonetheless, I would say that almost no mom in the world would trade not having the kids because she had pain. And it would be better, and I guess that they would like not to feel pain. And I'm not saying that I want to feel pain to have a baby. No, which is why I think that this sentence is so misunderstood. Because it's not about I want to feel pain to go through this, to be there. No, it's because it's a process of how the material world is. No one that once was like a sloth and wants to become a better athlete, every single one had to endure pain of certain degree. It doesn't mean to be the biggest pain in the world to become a better athlete. Has to go through that, but he doesn't, or she doesn't want to feel the pain. What she wants or what he wants is to be better at what they're planning. So if I want to be a better soccer player, if I want to be a better runner, if I want to be a better volleyball player, it doesn't matter. I know that I will get hurt, but I'm not thinking about getting hurt. I'm thinking about after getting hurt. And that's where patience needs to be at all times. It is tough. Everybody knows that it is tough. Every single one of us. We know that it is hard. We know that it's not easy. There's a song that talks about Superman. I think it was from that movie, from that TV series that I used to talk about a lot about when I was watching it a few years ago. What's the name? Smallville. I don't know if it's the song from that series, but he says at one point in the song that talks about Superman, it says, "It's not easy to be me. It's not easy to be me. It's not easy to be a Superman. It's not easy to be me in the sense of, oh, people look at me and then they think that I'm happy because I'm always smiling." Imagine this sentence being said by a clown. They're always making jokes and making fun of everybody. A clown is a person, just like ourselves. We just had a few years ago one of the guys that I admired the most, Robin Williams, was one of the funniest guys around. Everybody would say that. He was always cracking jokes, always smiling, always making fun, always. And then all of a sudden, nobody knows what he's going through inside. Only if he had one more bit of patience. Only if we have one more droplet of patience. Because pain is something that we all go through. We shouldn't be deaf to pains of others. We should pay attention to the pain of others. But we also should pay attention to our pain and hear it. And hear, what are you telling me? What is that pain telling me? Be it a physical pain. What is this? Why is my arm numb all the time? Or why do I hurt on my leg? Why does my head hurt right here? and now I'm talking about myself. Why did my head hurt a lot about here? I figured out that I found this chart a few years ago showing different places where your head hurts and pointing out generically to specific types of problems that your body has where your head hurts more. And after I had my surgery and everything, and had to move, to change a lot of stuff, and my blood pressure climbed down to almost normal levels, my pain right here disappeared. And in the chart, when you have a pain that goes here or here, it's usually indication of high blood pressure. What does your pain tell you? And we don't know because we don't pay attention and we don't go after it. And I had all the indications. My mom has a high blood pressure. My dad has high blood pressure. I was overweight. I was having headaches. I didn't pay attention to the pain. And I'm talking about physical pain, but what about emotional pain? Why every time I see something on the TV referring to whatever, I start crying, or I don't like it, or I hate the person that does that? What does that tell about my feelings? So paying attention to the pain that the material world causes to me, and the spiritual world in that sense of psychological things that happen around me, tell me who I am, or help me know a little bit more about myself. So he starts by saying, right, pain is a blessing sent by God to his elected. He says in the middle, we know full well that life is difficult. And here's that point that I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to finish in a few minutes, that I said that this message stuck to my mind. We know full well that life is difficult. We already said that, right? Composed of so many apparent useless, insignificant, and valueless things, like small, very small things, which act as repeated pinpricks, agulhas, pinpricks, ding, ding, like that mosquito, and end up hurting us because we left it accumulate. We don't act on it. We keep apparently waiting for the problem to disappear just because it disappears. We say as if magically things will disappear. And we hear this a lot. Oh no, time will heal. No, I don't like that sentence, really. And from the bottom of my heart, I never liked it. Well, maybe I liked it at one point, but one day I got to realize that it's time is necessary, but time doesn't heal anything. I, on time, heal it. And I'm going to show you how. If I cut myself for whatever reason, doing something, and all of a sudden, boom, cut myself, right? And I let it sit. Depending on how my arm is dirty, it may even heal superficially in time, but maybe I got some bacteria inside my body. And if I don't have that vaccine from tetanus, I might get tetanus. So time will actually kill me instead of save me or heal me. So it was not time that healed me or killed me. It was something else. If I'm all clean and there's nothing, and I cut myself for whatever reason, and I'm diabetic, it's even worse because I have so much glucose that the body just can't heal itself. Depending on how bad it is, it will get worse and worse with time if you don't do anything. So time doesn't do anything. I have to do it. I am responsible for what I need to do. And patience has to be there because it's not immediate. It's not instantaneous. We have to learn how to wait. Oh, how wonderful it would be to some degree if a mother could have a baby in 3 months. But because it was 9 months, you had 9 months to prepare. Because it was 9 months, you had 9 months of that love growing or that feeling growing. It's a sword of two edges. If it's 9 months, it's 9 months, period. Now I have to live with it, live through it, and use those small things to make me grow. If it's there, why not use it to my advantage? And why not take it and say, okay, if it's 9 months, it's 9 months. Oh, I don't know how long it will take. It doesn't matter. Live with it until the day it's not there anymore. And I bet that most of us, after a certain period of time using or living or doing something repeatedly for a very long time, when we don't have it anymore, there will be a moment, so now I miss that. Now I don't have that anymore. What am I going to do with my time when I don't have to worry about this? And then we have to learn it again. And it's another pain because I'm complaining about the pain that I don't have anymore. Now it's painful because so why not live through it? So, and then he finalizes, repeated all those pinpricks. He says, courage, my friends. The last paragraph starts by saying, courage, my friends. I know that life is not easy. Christ is your model. He suffered, and he uses it as an example. Suffered far more than any of us and had nothing to be charged upon him. He didn't suffer because he did something wrong. And what about us? That's basically how he ends. He paid for it and he suffered and he didn't have nothing to pay for. What about you? What about us? Do we have stuff that we did that we still need to go through, that we didn't fix it correctly, we didn't pay the whole bill, we are still owe a lot of money to someone, Chris? No? Yes, good. No, right? Okay. Yeah. So he says, so be patient. Be patient. Be Christians. This word summarizes everything. So be patient, but work for it. Know that it is there. Know that it will happen. Get ready for it the best that we can. Let's get ready for it the best that we can. And hope for the best when it happens. Try to do our best. If we can't, if we fail, we do it again. Yep. It's one step of the ladder. It's one step of the ladder. But if we don't go through, and if we jump over too much, we might fall, and then it will be more painful. We have to go through it again. So it's an opportunity to climb the steps, to go over the wall, to grow. just need to breathe in and breathe out. It is a learning process. It takes some time, but it's well worth it. It is well worth it. Everybody that lived through it can attest to it. We just need to learn to accept it and learn to understand it, and more importantly, learn to do it. And that's what this message invites us to do, to be patient, including to learn to be patient. Be patient to learn to be patient. That's what we need to do.
The funny thing about all the people that you mentioned, Buddha, Gandhi, they never complained. Jesus,
They
there was
were.
never complaint.
They were.
They suffered, they had all their pain, they took it all, and there was not a single complaint. It's not in the books.
Yeah, that's true.
Really about it.
Yeah. And if you're right, I mean, and even if they complained, and because I think that's something that's very important. You touched on something that's so important. Because even if they complained, let's imagine, it's not written, but let's imagine that they complained. Okay, let's imagine. What did they do with their complaints? They used their complaints as fuel to keep going, to keep being patient, to keep working, to keep doing what they needed to do. I am of the opinion that complaints only hinder you, just pulls you back, instead of using that complaint as something else to move you forward. But even if you're complaining, but you're still moving forward, do that. The big problem is that we complain not to move forward. We don't complain to solve the problem. We complain to give excuses of why we are not doing. That's usually what it is. We complain to be stuck wherever we are. So that's why it's very important. And thank you for pointing that out, because it is really important that there will be times, or there might be times, where we complain, but how do we use those complaints? Those who are already like the ones that you mentioned, right, Jesus or Buddha or whoever, we don't know. Maybe they did, but it doesn't matter. And so I can finish. There's this. I think I already said this a few times here. I don't know. There's this advertisement from where Michael Jordan participates in, where he says, I had the chance to shoot the last ball of the game to win the game 26 times, and I failed. I failed more. I lost more than 3,000 games. I lost more than this, but I never stopped. And that's why I am where I am. Something like that. He persevered. It doesn't matter if it's painful. If you know what you're doing, if you're not focusing on the pain, but you're focusing on the results, you will go through it. But sometimes we focus more on the pain than on a solution to the pain, or what that thing can bring me. And there's so many examples of that, and hopefully we can look at those examples and take something for our own lives. So this was Patience from chapter 9, item number 7 on the Gospel According to Spiritism. I invite you to read that message. I find it to be very, very thought-provoking. I really like this message. It really, like I said, I mean, been reading, and I like this message a lot. So with this, I'd like to invite everyone for for our meetings in Portuguese. It's still not happening here, but on Saturday nights we have Cleatia is already almost always there online watching and making comments. Hello, goodbye. Cristiane as well. The girls, I don't know if you watch or know. Sometimes, Nancy, everyone, the ones who are watching here. Of course, they are not in English; they're in Portuguese. But you're always welcome. And to be this weekend, we're gonna have a friend from New York, Jussara Korngold. She's gonna talk about the Promised Consoler, Spiritism. Its anniversary, April 18th. So this weekend is April 17th. Tonight, Cristiane, 18 years ago, 19 years ago, this Spiritist Center was born.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's 18 or 19 years ago. We have at least the very first one that we have signatures on, that we have a page that was April 12th. So that was, it was not here, it was in a different place, it was a basement. They used to call the catacombs because you had to climb down. It was very low, so your head would hit. I didn't know the place. I never been there. So we're still going strong with your help and with sticking to us and being here even in these hard times, tough times for everyone. So this month of April is always important. So this week on Saturday we're going to have Jussara. The week after we're going to have Vanessa Anceloni. She's gonna be online with us as well. She's going to talk about another writer, another very important writer from the beginning of Spiritism, which is Leon Denis. Has great books as well. So this month, that's one of the other reasons why I decided to talk a little bit about reading in the beginning, because this month we talked about Chico, talked about Herminio last Saturday. We're going to talk about Kardec. We're going to talk about Leon Denis. 4 great writers that put a basis of a lot of stuff that we have philosophically, scientifically, and religiously in Spiritism. So, invite everyone to do the God at Home or the Gospel at Home if you can. Same time. Yeah, did I read your mind? The same time, at the same place, pour some water in some cups and do a prayer, a good reading, either from one of the Spiritist books or a book that you like to read that have good messages, like the Bible, or one of these, like Our Daily Bread, or some other book that we have that can help us think about the good things. So we're inviting good spirits to our houses and helping us as well, not only to read, but to learn a little bit more about ourselves and about the world. So with that, let's, Chris, when will I be able to invite you here? She's already smiling. She knows where I'm going with this. Oh, the next. Oh my God, it's gonna take some time, but I'm patient. Yeah. So with this joy in our hearts, let's just do our final prayer, thanking God, thanking the good spirits, thanking our dear Master Jesus for his patience with us. Came here to teach us, to talk to us, to show us the way, to invite us to follow him, to go towards this light that it is to be better people, to help build and improve the world we live in. So thank you, Jesus, for being with us, for being this patient master to all of us. Help us go back to our homes tonight, protect our family, our friends, and may you and us be always together. So be it. So that's it for tonight. Thank you very much, folks. I'll hope we'll see each other soon. Thank you, Mariana, again.
Thank you.
Next.
Não fez o negócio do Kenny, não, né?
No, we're still in April.
Ah, que delícia.
Still in April. So now it's May, June. When we're close to the end of April, we're going to have May and June.
Perfeito. Tchau, gente.
Cris, espera aí que eu tenho que ir lá no carro pegar um dinheiro do cantinho.
Cris.
Ali no carro, Cris, eu pego lá rapidinho.
Toda vez eu tô passando.
Toda vez eu esqueço, eu venho no carro da Jéssica.
Depois eu uso pra lavar roupa.
Tchau, boa noite.